pursue financial freedom for nearly 20 years and is proudly A-plus rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now and ask how you can receive a complimentary copy of The Debt Dietitian. Stop running in place. Start moving toward financial freedom at 866-744-7344. 866-744-7344.
At F&B Bank, we believe local businesses are the heart of our community. That's why we're more than just your bank. We're your neighbor, your customer, and your biggest supporter. From the corner cafe to the hardware store downtown, we're walking the same streets, shopping the same shops, and investing in the same future, yours. We're here, we're local, and we're always in your corner. F&B Bank, banking built on community, member FDIC.
With NWKS Radio News, I'm Lucas Kenny. Just after 10:15 p.m. on Sunday, June 28th, a 1999 Ford Explorer driven by a 15-year-old from Quinter, Kansas, was driving westbound on County Road Z in Gove County, about 3 miles west of Quinter. While navigating the rain-damaged road, the vehicle left the roadway into the south ditch, re-entered the roadway facing north, and began to roll. The teen was taken to the Gove County Medical Center with suspected minor injuries. In other news, on Friday, Governor Laura Kelly announced 29 different appointments to a few state boards, commissions, committees, and cabinets, which includes the Kansas Children's Cabinet, the Board of Healing Arts, which includes a local who is Travis Rickford of Colby, the Kansas Commission on Peace Officers Standards and Training, Kansas Railroad Hall of Fame Selection Committee, and a few others. For more information on these local stories and plenty others, make sure to visit our website at nwksradio.net.
Today across the tri-state region, we'll see high temperatures in the lower 90s. Easterly winds turn into the southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour and got a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms to develop along a dry line that's sitting along Highway 25 here this morning around 4 o'clock in the afternoon until the sun sets. Isolated storm or two could have 70-mile-an-hour winds and large hail with movement from the southwest to the northeast. Tonight's lows will be around 63. Then tomorrow we got a mixture of sun and clouds. Those late afternoon storms have a marginal risk that one or two of them could become severe. Highs will top out around 90. The northwest morning winds will turn to the southeast in the afternoon at 10 to 15 miles per hour with a low around 62. Thursday and Friday will be sunny and getting really hot. We'll see afternoon highs around 95 on Thursday to around 100 Friday. This meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland is rolling into summer with big offers on new GMCs. Get a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 elevation with $7,000 customer cash with trade-in or 0% for 60 months plus no payments for 90 days. Need heavy duty? Get the 26 GMC Sierra 2500 with $1,000 in rebates or 4.9% for 48 months. Plus save on 26 GMC Terrain and Arcadias with over $1,000 in rebates when you finance with GM Financial. See Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas or online at earlchev.com. GMC, professional grade.
Here's a bright idea. Make sure you put your pants on before leaving the house. Sure, it seems simple, but sometimes simple doesn't happen. At IdeaTech, we think it's simple to have real people who live in Kansas helping customers. We understand that not everyone in our industry agrees. Then again, not everyone puts on pants before they leave the house. We think it's important to get the simple things right. Putting our pants on and providing local customer service. Another bright idea from IdeaTech.
It's simple. Get IdeaTech fiber internet at ideatech.com.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
When you gotta go, but there's nowhere to go, who you gonna call? Topside Portables and Pumping, that's who. Weddings, job sites, farm parties, they've got clean, reliable porta potties that don't stink, literally. And if your septic tank smells worse than last year's chili cook-off, they'll pump it out fast. No mess, no fuss. Family owned, Heartland values, always ready. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside portables and pumping. When duty calls, they answer.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer and Garrett Wellbrock.
Rise and shine. It's butt whipping time.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodlands Rocket 102.5 KLOE and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Discussing it all from the preps to the pros.
Touch 'em all time. Jake McCarthy. The Grand Tour.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank. Along with
IdeaTech Fiber Internet, Topside Portables and Pumping, The Insurance Agency, Pest Away, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinner, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Swing and a drive out to left field. It's high in the air, and it's going to get out of here. Goodbye. Oh, wow. 3/4 of the way up the stands out there in left center field. Number 26 for Hunter Goodman.
In this position for Paraguay. But he scores! Paraguay have done it! Paraguay have won it! And they booted Germany out of the World Cup!
Zaya, deep left. It is back. Leaping play, shot by Bowen. Cubs win.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. We are back here on the Morning Blitz. Ross Volkmer, Garrett Wellbrock with you once again, broadcasting on Goodlands Rocket 102.5 KLOE and WKSradio.net, as well as the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Glad you're with us here on this Tuesday, the final day of June 2026. We are, at the midway point, right? Yeah, this is the midway point of the year, correct, Amundo? Pretty much, right? July.
It's pretty close. I think so.
Might as well call it that. I mean, we're right there. So happy mid-year to you. We start the month of July tomorrow. We celebrate 250 years of this wonderful country coming up here in just a couple of days. How do you plan on partaking in the July 4th 250 celebrations, Garrett?
I'm going to read this Constitution that's next to me right here. Yeah, I got handed that the other day.
I wonder who could have given you a pocketbook Constitution.
No, yeah, I don't. I'm gonna head home, back to Hayes, celebrate with the family and friends. Gonna have a good time. Actually, playing in a golf tournament on Saturday morning, so it'll be
on 4th of July morning. Oh,
yes.
Okay. Is there a fun name for this tournament? There's got to be.
No, it's not really like a put together tournament. It's just a bunch of my buddies that are back in town.
Oh, kind of a
16
reunion.
of us.
Oh,
yeah.
Reunion. Are you going to have 16 guys on a hole? We were talking about that yesterday.
I don't think they'd allow that. I don't think they would allow that.
Well, that'll be a good time. I'm headed back to Nebraska, spend time with my family, which will be plenty of sun and hanging around by the water. So I'll be excited to do that. And good time to do it with the heat temperatures that we are having out here throughout the Midwest, honestly. And it looks like that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. Once again, an update on the weather. You've got today highs in the mid-90s. There's going to be winds that are going to be out of the north, which may help cool those temperatures down a little bit. May not feel like mid-90s, maybe just low 90s with those northern breezes that come down. But we're going to see temperatures in the mid-90s on Wednesday. We're going to see them in the upper 90s on Thursday. High to upper 90s on Friday. For your Independence Day, celebrating 250 glorious years, going to be temperatures in the mid-90s there. We've got 90s all over the place, going all even into next week. So welcome to summer. We are officially there. It's been an odd year. I remember back in March, we were having some temperatures that were kind of almost record-breaking, temperatures in the 80s and 90s, cooled off in the months of May and even into June with some cooler days. And now we've officially reached the summer months with our weather. So right now, fair and 65 outside, our way to a high in the mid-90s here today. Speaking of today, on today's program, full show ahead today. We'll have Trivia Tuesday with our good friend Lucas Kenny. He'll be in here later on in the show to quiz us and quiz our sports knowledge, see if we can figure out our trivia for today. We have Goodland boys basketball coach heading into his second season as the head man. Dawson Raymer will be joining me in studio. We'll be visiting with him about the upcoming season for Goodland Cowboy basketball and the offseason that has been. I know that they participated over in Colby at the Oasis Shootout. And so there is going to be some conversations about high school boys basketball coming up on today's program. And we will be talking some more basketball here in just a little bit, as an article has come out from Yahoo Sports telling us that Kansas basketball was an off-season loser. Were they an off-season loser? Kansas basketball, we'll discuss it here in just a little bit. As always, F&B Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222. If you have a thought, a comment, a question, an opinion, hit us up there on the F&B Bank text line. Or, of course, hit us up on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream if you are listening there. You can, of course, comment through Facebook, X, as well as YouTube, and we can read those off for you, too. We can get to those also. The audio stream is still down. Joel and Christina are working on that as we speak, trying to get the audio stream back up, but we continue to have some issues with that. We did solve some computer issues yesterday. We did do that, but we didn't get them all done. So we are continuing to work towards that at this point in time. How's the house coming along? Did they get in yesterday with any floor stuff for you?
They did not know.
Okay.
So yeah, they've taken out the floor of my apartment, but they had all the dehumidifiers, everywhere scattered around. They did take those out yesterday, so they said it was all dry. Just a matter of time when they start putting floor in. So I don't know. Hopefully it's done by this week, but it hasn't been. It's not too big of an issue. It's just more so like everything's scattered around. Like the fridge is in the living room, the stove and dishwasher are completely unplugged. They're unusable right now, and my couch is in like 4 different sections. So yeah, it's can't really relax, but it's okay. I can still live there.
Do you have a couch? Is that all you have for seating in your living room? Is a couch?
Yeah, it's like one of those long ones that's got it's like a love seat plus a couch with like a built-in ottoman.
Oh wow!
Like on the corner, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So it's not an L couch, L shape, but it's just it's a longer one.
You just
it does the job.
The fridge being next to a piece of the couch is pretty handy, though.
Yeah. That is true. That is true.
Well, hopefully they get that flooring in for you and you get back to living your life. Been a rough couple of weeks for Garrett Wellbrock. Wakes up one morning and his floor is completely wet from a big rain shower last week. So anyway, let's get going on the show. Once again, our first segment of the day, sponsored, of course, by our good friends at R&R Custom Buildings. Mike and Dax Reese are looking to help you get your gutters in shape from all the bad storms. You might need a new guttering system on your house. They have 20 different color options to choose from. And, of course, the great experience to make sure that it works right and looks right, protecting your home. R&R Custom Building also, of course, doing $1 back per foot installed to a Goodland High School program of your choice, no matter if it's the Science Olympiad, band, forensics, football, baseball, basketball, whatever it might be. They want to help out Goodland High School as well. So R&R Custom Building, giving $1 back per foot installed to a GHS program of your choice. Upgrade your gutters and give back to the Cowboys and Cowgirls as well. Call Mike or Dax Reese with R&R Custom Building, 785-821-1432. That's 785-821-1432 today for R&R Custom Building, and get your gutters in the right spot so you don't have an issue where you wake up one morning and your floor is completely wet like Garrett's. Anyway, Garrett found this article, and I've seen articles like this fly through the atmosphere the last couple of weeks. As we have, the portal is closed for men's college basketball. We are now into the summer conditioning, summer workouts. Guys are back on campus, started pretty much back on June 1st or the first week of June, getting ready for the upcoming 26-27 basketball season. And there's been a lot of discussion, whether it be so-called experts in the media field or former players, other ones that have said that Kansas basketball is not had a very good offseason with the departures of guys like Flory Badunga and others, Rice and Tiller, that have left the program. And then, of course, the bringing of Tyron Stokes certainly kind of helped with some of that blow. But the question I have for the audience, here today was Kansas basketball's offseason, are they a loser from it? Are they a loser of the offseason for KU basketball with how things have gone with the departures that left and the pieces that they brought in? Garrett, where do you stand on this topic here this morning?
I think they absolutely are a loser. Because kind of like you just mentioned, the losses that they had kind of outweighed the gains that they brought in. Some of the guys they brought in, the guys they brought in are fine from the transfer portal. Don't get me wrong. I think Leroy Blyden Jr., the guard from Toledo, is going to be a good player for him. Keanu Dawes from Utah. I think he's going to be a fine piece for the Jayhawks. But, I mean, they lost their entire starting five when you look at it. You mentioned Tiller and Badunga, but Melvin Council graduated. Trey White graduated. Of course, Darren Peterson getting drafted last week, second overall. So they have to, they had to rebuild their whole team pretty much. And some other bench pieces gone as well. I think they had one returning player and general scholarship player in Cole Rosario. And I don't know. I just feel like they're going to be built a lot like last year, where they're going to be probably a 4 or 5 seed in the tournament and maybe win their first game. And then it's kind of a toss up if they make it to the second weekend. But if you're a KU fan, is that really what you want? Because you're a blue blood school, and that kind of seems like not what Kansas basketball is. They're supposed to be national championship contenders every single season. And lately it hasn't been that way. And I don't think it's going to be much different in 2026-27 season.
This is going to probably really tick off some Kansas basketball fans, but I'm going to use an analogy. Kansas basketball is slowly becoming the Nebraska football team. It's kind of slowly becoming that. Nebraska is considered a blue blood. They have 5 national championships. They once were a top 25 team that continued to reign all around the time. Kansas is not there where Nebraska is currently right now. They're still better than that, but they are heading in that direction. And there's multiple reasons for that. I think the biggest one, when I continue to read this and hear this from lots of people that know stuff, Kansas just doesn't have the budget that other programs have. They do not have the money that a Kentucky has, who's out there throwing, how much money did they pay to Milan Momcilovic? Was that $6 million?
I believe so. It was
$6 million to one guy. $6 million to Milan Momcilovic, the transfer from Iowa State. Kansas doesn't have the kind of money to go out and do that. I've read it. I've heard it. They don't have the money to go out and do it. They don't have the funds to compete with the big dogs that are spending $20-some-odd million in that. And guess what? That number goes up every year. And guess what? You're behind the 8 ball. So let's just say that the biggest roster in college basketball a couple years ago was $10 million. Kansas probably had $6 or $7 million at that point in time. And so they're like, well, we got to get to that $10 million mark so we can get there. Guess what? The goalpost changed. It moved back and went to $15 million. Kansas got to 10. It's moved again. It's gone to $20 million. Kansas got to 15 or whatever. They're not there. They don't have the financial backing to put together a $20 to $30 million roster it takes to do that. So you are once again, instead of of the past where you had the best players, you were able to go out and recruit the best players, and you were able to develop them because you were able to have them stick around for a couple of years, So you had Udoka Azubuike. Who was the young man? What was the guy's name? That was the Kansas kid who developed really, really good and went on to play for the Cavaliers.
Dean Wade from K-State.
No, he was Kansas. No. This was a kid. He went.
Kansas.
Kansas fans, help me out here. What's the young man who went? He was a Kansas kid over there in Kansas City. I can't think of his name. Was a guard, went and played. He was but it doesn't matter. You could go through Devontae Graham or Frank Mason if you want to go back even further. They had guys that, guess what? They were good players when they came here. They became great because they stuck around and got the coaching of Bill Self, learned his system. They became great players. I can't think of that player's name, unfortunately, but Udoka Azubuike, another one. There are tons and tons of examples of that. Kansas was a great player, was a great developer program. They would bring in some of the best players and they would make them even better. Now with the portal, guess what? Great players come in. They either leave to go to the NBA or they transfer someplace else. Just like Bryson Tiller, just like Flory Badunga, because Kansas doesn't have the financial backing to hold those guys around anymore. That's the reason why. And I know Kansas fans will be like, that's bogus. We've got all the money in the world. It doesn't show it. I don't see it. They're losing guys left and right in this climate of college basketball. Now, with that being said, that's the negative side of the things. I think on the positive side of things, they still have Bill Self, who I do consider to be one of the best coaches in all of college basketball. And I still think he can bring in great talent. But in today's college basketball, there's two ways to win. Yeah, you can go out and you can spend the most money. You could certainly do that. Or you can go out and you can coach your butt off and recruit your butt off and get the right players for your program to play together. I think Bill Self has really struggled at getting the right pieces to come together the last few years, whether it's Hunter Dickinson and that team or with Darren Peterson this year and all the stuff that had to go on with that. It's been really tough for Bill Self. And I think that's why Bill Self, once again, after the season got over, was like, I don't know if I'm coming back next year. That was a lot on him. He wants to coach a group that actually wants to play together and things like that and do what he coaches and hope and believes in. I don't think he's been able to get that across to the guys last couple of years. It's been more about the money than anything else. And that's the hard part. That's why you're seeing coaches like Bill Self, older coaches, saying, I don't want to be in this anymore. I'm good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, and that's part of why it's been so hard, because you have to have, like, the transfer portal. You have a whole new roster every single season. So they're not really gelling like they have had in the past, especially that 2022 championship team where they had Ochai Agbaji, Christian Brown.
Ochai Agbaji. Thank you.
Yes. Those guys and those, they just were so good together because they was their third and fourth years with KU and in that system. And then, I think that was the first year of the transfer portal, if I remember right. And I think they did get like Remy Martin from Arizona State, yes, but it wasn't the whole team. It was like one or two guys. And, back to your point on the NIL, they're obviously down right now on the money wise. They got Peterson, they've gotten Tyron Stokes. It seems like they can get one really good player, but you need to get at least 3 or 4 really good players, because every other team that's going to be a powerhouse, like Michigan last year, Louisville, it seems like this year, that they're getting everybody because they're getting the right donors to bring in a bunch of money, with the brands, everything. And that's what we're seeing KU in their transfer portal class. A lot of people are frustrated. Why can't you go get this guy and this guy? Well, they just don't have the money for it. So they have to go to the kind of mid-level transfer portal pieces. I saw this thing on 24/7 Sports, the transfer portal rankings. And so the number one recruit was Flory Badunga, who obviously goes to Louisville. Then Bryson Tiller, just for example here, Bryson Tiller down here is number 33. KU's highest recruit that they got in the transfer portal is number 48 in Keanu Dawes. So, they just weren't getting the highest end players in the portal, and that's why I truly believe this offseason was a loser, because you lost so much, you didn't gain what you lost. I think it's just you lost like 60% and you gained about 40.
Here's the thing, though. You can lose in the offseason. That's fine. The offseason doesn't matter. You want to win when the season begins. That's why, once again, KU basketball might have had a losing offseason. That doesn't mean it's going to lose in the regular season. They can go out there and they can go find some guys that can play together and play well together. It's a game of continuity, man. You got to have pieces that fit together, that play together. Kansas didn't have that this last year. I'm sorry, they didn't. Darren Peterson, when he was there, it just didn't really fit real good together. You could see that most of the time. They actually almost played better as a team when he was on the bench and Melvin Council was the star. And that's the other thing. Look at last year. Who would have thought Melvin Council was going to be that big star? Nobody knew. He's from St. Bonaventure. You don't know what you have until they get there. You don't know that. And that can go to the same thing to other teams that are getting guys that are top 10 portal pieces. Just because you get a top 10 portal piece does not mean that he's going to come in there and his team is going to play great with him. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, that's the other question. Would you rather spend $30 million like Kentucky, which that probably is an exaggeration, $25 million like Kentucky, and $6 million on one player, and have that one player go out there and have a rough year where maybe he only makes 30% of his threes instead of 37 or 38% like he did at Iowa State, and maybe make the tournament but lose in the first round on a $30 million roster? Or would you rather go out and spend whatever Kansas is spending, $15 million, and maybe you only make maybe you make it only to the second round or something like that. But what would you rather do? Would you rather spend all the money and come up short, or maybe not spend as much money? And, I don't know. That's a hard one to pick from. I get it. But sometimes that's why I'm saying until they've started, they're starting to kind of reel some things in from the wild west of college sports. They're starting to reel some stuff in here. But until they start saying, well, you cannot spend more than $25 million, until they have a hard cap on how much you can spend on a roster and the penalties that will back that up, it's got that goalpost is going to continue to move backwards and backwards. And it's just going to get harder and harder for teams like Kansas, because Kansas was not about massive, when there were rules about that. There was not, but now that it's free market and people can pay whatever they want, Kansas doesn't have the financial backing to do that. Just don't. Nebraska football, once again, in the same exact boat. Nebraska football a couple of years ago, actually, it was last year, when Matt Rule signed his extension, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but they signed him to a big extension. And everybody goes, but we have all the resources and the money we need to win to have a $30 million roster. Guess what? Now the goalposts have moved. It's now a $40 to $50 million roster you got to have in football to have a top compelling roster. The goalposts continue to move. So now guess what? You don't have the money you need to compete with the top dogs. You don't. That, once again, is where you, as a coach, you got to earn that 7 to 8 figure paycheck. You got to earn it. Mm-hmm. You got to go out there. You got to find pieces that fit in your system, and you can coach them up to play like 5 stars instead of saying, well, that's the best player there, we'll take him. We can pay him. That's the best player there, we'll take him. You got to be able to put your team together, and that's what Kansas is doing, I feel like, more nowadays than just going out and trying to keep with the big dogs and spending $30 million that they don't have.
I really like the Leroy Blyden signing, simply because I don't feel like these last couple of years KU has had a really like a stabilized point guard.
And that's what they always had for a long time, right?
Yes. And DeJuan Harris was really good, like his freshman, sophomore years when he had a lot of talent around him. But then when he had to become a crucial piece, he really started to struggle. We saw it at the end of his career at KU. And then, of course, last year, there was really no point guard at all. And I think Leroy Blyden can be that guy. It'll obviously be a question mark. How does he come in? Will it be Stokes with the ball most, or will it be Blyden? That's a question I can't answer. Only time will tell. We'll find that out. But I do think that is something, if you are a Jayhawk fan, to be a little excited about, that you have a true point guard, because, it's what Bill Self has lived on, in his time as
true point guards and big men.
Exactly. And it feels like now they maybe have a point guard. The question, will there be enough talent around them to, help out? Because the wing play does look a little iffy right now outside of Stokes.
I still feel like Bill Self is trying to find his way in this era of basketball.
Yes, 100%.
I feel like he's like, oh God, I can get the best player, but I could probably only get 1 or 2. And I want to bring in some transfers because I really need I need to prove that I can do the transfer portal. And I really want a big man, even though the era is kind of more about shooting the 3 ball. Not that's how Bill Self sounds, but that's my point. You kind of feel like he's grasping at straws sometimes, trying to figure out what he wants to do, and it's hard. It's hard to figure that out. So I know I think Keanu Dawes was the top scorer at Utah last year. He's the guy that can get to the basket. Like you said, Blyden Jr. is a really good point guard. Hopefully he can learn Bill Self's system. That's the thing. Most of these guys got to come in and learn it in 1 or 2 years. That's hard to do. Guys that really peaked for Bill Self came in year 3 and year 4. It wasn't year 1 or year 2 for them. Unless you were super. And that's where, once again, you are hoping and praying, if you're a Kansas fan, that Tyron Stokes comes here and just lights up the world. That's what you're hoping for.
Well, even like what you mentioned, that the taking time, Flory Badunga, his first couple of years, he was nothing. He could barely get on the floor off the bench because he just wasn't that talented. And then last year has a good year, and now he's the number 1 transfer according to 24/7.
Think about Bill Self and that. Think about, he came in and he was really highly recruited, but he came to you. You developed him for a couple of years, and now when he is ready to just blow up, he left your butt. and that really has to chap it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really got to do it. So it's a tough, and I'm sure that's why Bill Self, one other reason was he's like, I don't want to go continue to do this. Why invest in people that don't want to come back and reinvest in me? So that stinks. They're in a tough spot. But once again, I think it comes down to the fact that once again, Kansas does not have the money to compete with the big dogs anymore. So they're trying to find new ways to win, and they got to go back kind of old school about finding guys that maybe aren't the superstars, but knowing that they can play in that system and that they can win with those guys.
I think, I think Bill Self's a great coach. He's going to really have to prove it this year that he could coach his tail off, because obviously, like I said, it's not like the Big 12 is getting any worse. They're getting a lot better. Every single school, it's going to be a really tough conference to compete in, and we'll see how they do.
But let me ask you this. I mean, do you feel any different about going into this year as you did going into last year about Kansas basketball? Because to me, it seems like it's on the same playing level. They got the top recruit in the country. Maybe a little bit worse because you don't have Flory or those guys coming, a few returning pieces, so you have more question marks. But I mean, it feels pretty similar.
Yeah, I think it's similar, but it's a little worse because they didn't Badunga. You had an anchored big man. I think Bryson Tiller, there was a lot of hype around him coming in. Even Trey White, when he came from Illinois, it was like, okay, that's a really good portal piece.
He was okay. He wasn't.
Yeah,
good.
He didn't really turn out to be anything special, but like it's just, I don't know. I think they have a little less coming in this year. Obviously, Stokes being the highlighted guy. If he can play all 30 or so games, then it's probably a little better for Kansas's fans to actually see their number one recruit get out on the floor.
No, I think there's no doubt Kansas basketball had a loser off season, but at the same time, I don't think that means anything when it comes to what the season could be. I figured we'd hear more with Michael, our resident Jayhawk super fan. He goes, winning it all this year, boys. Rock Chalk goes, I'm excited for Luke Barnett. He's a 3-point assassin. Yes, one of the top recruits, Luke Barnett, could be knocking down some threes. They got to do something. We'll see how all the pieces come together for Bill Self here for the 26-27 season. Once again, I think it was kind of a loser off season, but that's okay. It's not about winning the off season. It's about winning in the season. And we'll see if Bill Self can get it done. All right, let's get to a break. We'll come back. Dawson Raymer's waiting patiently for us. He'll join us next to talk a little Goodland Cowboys summer hoops next during the Morning Blitz.
Where do the best memories happen? Not in the living room. They happen out back. Build the perfect backyard with patio furniture, fire pits, grills, and smokers from Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Then tackle that fence, new roof, or weekend building project with the quality lumber and materials you trust. Keep the grass green and work easy with Ultimate All-Season Lawn Fertilizer and Ego Cordless Power Outdoor Equipment. This summer, don't just stay home, make home the place everyone wants to be. With the help of Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, Jared Law with the Andersons in Overland Park, Kansas with your morning market update. It's Tuesday, June 30th. July corn up 2 at 404. September, either side of unchanged at 410 and a quarter. December unchanged 430. Soybeans on the July down 3.5, 1105 and a quarter. August down 3 at 1116 and a quarter. September down 3.5 at 1120 and a half. And November down 3.5 at 1135 and a half. KC wheat on the July down 1.5 at 598 and a half. September up 2 at 616 and three quarters. December up 2.5 at 632. Chicago wheat up 2 1/4 at 571 and three quarters. Feeder cattle finished yesterday 367.47 and a half. Live cattle 257.40. Lean hogs 238.15. Crude oil futures up 21 cents a barrel at 70.96. Gold futures down 5.70 an ounce at 4,016.60. Silver up 32 cents at 58.49. U.S. dollar index up 25 points at 101.12 and a half. Dow futures down 50 points at 52,522. S&P futures down 3 at 7,497. Need to move any cash drain or want to talk about risk management, you can reach out to myself, Jared Law, Tom Saludo, or Tyler Gosh, 913-748-3000. If you're out in Colorado, you can reach out to John Hankey at 970-744-4484.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find
All the sports you love, all in one place.
This will come in handy.
This is the Morning Blitz.
All right, before we get moving on here to Dawson Raymer, I do have to get to the text line. Officer Jared, of course, one of our top listeners. Thank you, Jared, for all your listening. He did have a question for me. I didn't get to this. I know that he asked this. This was days ago, and I didn't get to it, and he reminded me. But he goes, I went for my vacation with my wife's family. We went to Canyon City, Colorado, and so we went there, and he goes, well, I was born there, and I grew up there for a while, and so here's some places you need to try out. And so we tried out one of the places downtown. Oh gosh, Jared, I forget what the name of it was off the top of my head, but one of your suggestions, family-owned restaurant, it was very good, very, very good. One of your suggestions was, so you had good suggestions. You did a great job with that for sure. So I appreciate you thinking of me. So thank you, Jared, for giving me some tips on where to go in Canyon City, Colorado. Let's welcome in our guest today. He joins me in the studios here in Goodland. That'd be Goodland Cowboy basketball coach Dawson Raymer. You can be physical with that microphone. It'll bend. There you go. That a boy. Yeah, there you go. He joins us in studio. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Not too shabby, Ross. How about yourself?
He's about ready to head on vacation because he is going to Texas to see his brother and having kind of sounds like a little family reunion down there. So he's about to head out. So we caught him on the perfect day before he goes and gets burnt to a crisp.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited.
How has this second, last year was your first year coming back here to Goodland and getting ready to lead this program that you once, of course, played for. Well, how has it been different in year number 2, knowing what you learned from year number 1 to go into year 2? And what have you kind of tweaked here early on in the summer months to help maybe better yourself for it next season?
First thing, Ross, is just the preparation level, being able to be here fully in the summer with the guys and the eventual leading up and the progress leading up to the summer and the spring. We had our exit meetings with a bunch of the guys at the end of March. And the preparation level is going to be the biggest thing for me this upcoming year and in the summer. We changed some things offensively, like I told you, Ross, and that's all we repped at camp that first week before we went into Marysville, just offensive stuff. We kind of put defense on the back burner, so to speak, this first initial part of the summer. And it actually helped us out pretty well, especially with this incoming freshman class and even the returners that we had through the sophomores, through the seniors. So
sorry, Ross, you guys played at the Oasis Colby shootout here last week. Talk about that a little bit. How do you feel like your guys competed in that tournament with all those teams that you wouldn't really see in a normal Kansas season?
Yeah, including up in Marysville, we'd seen Strasburg, Colorado, which was really good for us. They got a freaking amazing play style, fast pace, 5-out, and they're physical. They pressure full court, which is good to see. But we're missing about 4 of our top varsity guys at Colby. So we leaned on a bunch of freshmen and sophomores there. And, a big person that really stepped up and kind of proved he's the guy again was Jackson Miller. His leadership qualities were spectacular for us as coaches, and including the freshmen and sophomores who are going to have to play a lot of minutes this year. And looking back, I was talking to Coach Topliff about it, and we think we could very easily be 8 or 9 deep this year, really, truly. We kind of thought that we would be able to do that last year, but I really think 8 or 9 guys deep this year is going to be our game plan. And the competition level is always great. We've seen Lamar, Colorado, they kind of bullied us, physicaled us a little bit. So, we're still working on the physicality aspect of the team. But, for the most part, we competed pretty well out there, and that's what I love to see.
Dawson Raymer, Goodland Cowboy basketball coach, going into his second season, talking a little Goodland Cowboy basketball here on the Morning Blitz. I want to talk a little bit more about, you went to Marysville before. What was the growth you saw from Marysville to Colby because, you had some guys probably baptized by fire at Marysville, and then you go like, okay, well, now we're at Colby. And even though you didn't have all your pieces at Colby, I mean, did you see some growth there that you were looking for?
Oh, yeah. Coach Deeds, Coach Topoff, and I all we had 22 guys that went to Marysville, which is really nice to see. So we had about 13 JV guys and about 9 varsity guys. One big thing from the varsity level that I seen was just the effort level and being able to step up from the sophomore class so far. Reed Cure, Hudson Short, Heston Henry. Those guys played a lot of high-level varsity minutes up at Marysville, and they stepped up pretty well. And we're excited for them leading up into the year. They're going to play hard, and that's what we love to see. And then the JV level, we had a bunch of freshmen step up as well. We still have some sophomore leaders on the JV level right now too, and they were full of what we were already asking of them. One big thing that we took away that we didn't work on at all at team camp was our ability to score in transition still, Ross. I think playing fast for us is going to be an emphasis again and getting that ball out the rim and going. Offensively, though, I thought our offense especially up to Marysville, we only had 3 days of team camp before we left for Marysville that Thursday. I thought our offensive progressions were very well with our back cuts and our reads, and just being able to get to the rim, play off 2 feet, drive and kick. I thought we've looked a lot better at that so far this summer than what we did last year at times.
How I saw you guys playing in the Colby Summer League. How valuable has that been just kind of for extra reps and also team chemistry and playing? Do you play with like different groups, or is it kind of your varsity JV or separated, just kind of building that chemistry there?
We actually, our last 2 weekends, we actually didn't have any varsity games just because we couldn't have enough guys at the varsity level. And I wasn't willing to sacrifice a JV kid coming up and playing with the varsity guys, potentially getting one of the 2 kids hurt, another team kids hurt. But we still rep the JV, and our JV kids, they'll play hard, Ross. They'll play really hard. And, the big thing about them is just the learning and the understanding of basketball. And, talking with Coach T as we went up through those 2 games, the last 2 weekends. First off, we only played Colby JV every single time up in the Oasis Summer League, which kind of stunk. But they were really the only 2 true JV team there. But, at times we'll full court press, back off. But offensively, I think we could be pretty darn good this year as long as we keep progression throughout the year.
Dawson Raymer in studio with us. I want to go to, you talked about scoring the basketball, because last year it kind of became a 2-horse team with Connor Collett and, of course, with Braylon Moll. Braylon, of course, has graduated and moved on, but Connor's back for his junior campaign. How are you going to replace those 17 points and hopefully more? Like you said, I feel like it's going to be more of a balanced attack across the board, but how do you plan on doing that once again, not only with players, but with this new kind of tweaked offensive system?
Yeah, I think first of all, for us, the scouting report's out on Connor. So, I think for us as coaches, we kind of had to come back and figure out a way of what are we going to be able to do to find ourselves to get easier buckets for us. And I think that's the big thing for us that we came back with was this new Princeton stuff with a lot of the back cuts. And it helped us a lot. I think even in the travel leagues with Colby and then in Marysville, Jackson Miller has been a key proponent from us as a leader for us to be able to understand what we're asking, because he had been in the system a little bit as a freshman and sophomore with Coach Dahl. So we brought that back, and it just kind of works for us. We still got a lot to learn with it. And we had only gone to the top part of the pyramid, as I like to call it. And, we looked pretty good at times. But at times when we were kind of running around with chickens with our heads cut off, we looked a little lost out there. But that's part of the progress, too. And so I'm excited to see where we can go from there.
On your Tuesday, Thursday morning skill workouts, what are you kind of focusing on those? Is that more like offensively, like you mentioned, or is it a little bit of everything?
A little bit more offensively approached. We're going to be working on a lot more of the CLA stuff, constraints-led approach, and we did a lot of that for our first couple weeks of the summer workouts. And so basically what those are is we'll put a couple constraints, whether it be 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, or 3-on-2 with an advantage for the offense. One of the drills that we like to do is contested finishing, where it's 1-on-1, you'll bounce the ball to one of the players. person who receives it's on offense, the person who doesn't, it's on defense, and they have to play off two. If not, it's going to be a turnover. So we'll do a lot more of those and just a lot of offensive work. We'll continue to run the no middle again this upcoming year defensively. And so, like we said, offense was our main focus this year, big time, because we got to be able to score the ball by committee and not be so primarily focused on one or two guys.
You mentioned that you think you're going to be able to play 8 to 9 deep. That means you're going to get some guys that are going to be out there playing a lot of new minutes. Who are some young men that have really stood out to you that maybe didn't get a chance to play varsity because they were young and still developing? Who are some guys that you really, and maybe it's some guys who did play some varsity minutes that have stepped up their game more like you absolutely need them to do?
Yeah, our sophomores are Reed Cure, Hudson Short, Heston Henry. We're big-time supporters from Marysville on this summer. Heston's a little banged up right now, and even so is Connor right now. But even on the JV level, Treston Mai, who's going to be a senior this year for us, he's one of those guys, just like those other 3 sophomores, that are just going to play absolutely freaking hard for 32 minutes. Go balls to the wall is what we'd like to say, Ross, on the radio. But,
I didn't hear anything bad there. You're good.
But then even, we even had a couple freshmen step up so far this summer that Coach Topoff and I were surprised. And even kind of the later games up at Colby and the Oasis Travel Ball, Cameron Collette, Connor's little brother, stepped up for us. It was actually kind of funny because we drew up a game winner and he actually got it up in Colby, but it was after the buzzer. So, but just the ability to, especially a bunch of the freshmen, they'll play hard. Caden Schick. We missed Aiden Linton so far this summer, but he'll be back for us hopefully this upcoming winter. And just and Candy Newman, forgot about him. Bryson Murray, just the ability for the guys that have been in the system the first year and the understanding of what we're already asking of them that we didn't really have to tell the younger guys.
You talked about some of your guys being a little banged up now after, going through the month of summer so far here in June. How nice is it? It is dead week now. How nice is it to kind of get the bodies kind of refueled, restored as you hit the back half of summer in July?
Oh, well, honestly, I wish we would have had this when I was in high school here because it's a blessing. It really is. It does stink that, basketball workouts are technically done for the rest of the summer with KSHA rules. But at the end of the day, it's kind of nice to get a break away from it and have the kids only be focused on strength and conditioning up after this week. And, we worked the fireworks stand yesterday and it was just the guys are just their vibes are high and they're talking about it's nice not having a week of weights or basketball or football. And so I think it's a benefit for them just to kind of be able to relax and, be high school kids.
So refresh our memory. So nothing can happen for any sports besides weightlifting and conditioning here over the month of July, or is it just this week?
I'm not for sure. I can't really speak on like football or volleyball or cross country or golf workouts, but I know for us as basketball, I believe that I can work with up to 3 guys in a session.
Okay.
Anything else other than that, it'll be I can't do it.
That'd be illegal. Yeah, and there's none of that going on.
No, sir.
Absolutely.
No, sir.
We follow the rule by the rule book. Well, we'll get you out of here on this. You're working the fireworks stand. What's your favorite firework?
Oh man, I was got it flamed a little bit by the guys yesterday. I'm not gonna lie, I like the little dynamite snappers.
Black cats?
Yeah, I like the black cats. I'm not really into the big ones. It's a lot of money for me. I don't like to spend that much money. I'll spend the $5-10 on some smoke bombs, some firecrackers, some snap bombs, and like a missile with a parachute out of it.
Yeah. No Roman candles.
I'm okay with the Roman candles. I had an incident when I was younger with the Roman candle, not from me, so it kind of steered clear away from Roman candles.
That wouldn't shock me. Josh Rimmer got some issue with the Roman candle. That doesn't sound like a shocker to me, young Dawson. Okay, how about one more? 4th of July. What's the top 4th of July food?
Ooh, I love this question because I loved your guys' top 5 snacks on the road. Too.
This was a guy who said he had never heard of Oreos in the freezer.
Nah,
you are a baby.
I still haven't tried it yet.
I haven't either. I need to. I
life-changing.
That was a wild take. I still haven't tried, but I bet I'll love it.
So good.
4th of July food. Well, first off, hopefully we're going to be in Texas, so hopefully we go to a barbecue restaurant.
Oh yeah,
that's needed. On the spot. This is a great question.
That's why you get paid the minimal dollars.
I would say something along the lines of pulled pork.
Okay. Yeah. You can't go wrong there.
You can't go wrong there. Low and slow. and then some type of barbecue sauce. I'm okay with an Alabama white sauce or a Carolina hot sauce or just regular old
barbecue sauce. Okay.
Yeah,
that's all right. Nothing wrong with that. We're gonna do the top 5 4th of July barbecue foods, or cookout foods here later this week. So put that in your calendars. We've got that coming up on Thursday.
Yeah,
so,
close second for me is baked beans, though, for sure.
Baked beans.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Underrated. Underrated.
I've got the ultimate underrated, but I'm stashing that one for Thursday. All right, Dawson Raymer, Goodland Cowboy Basketball Coach. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Really appreciate it. Safe travels down and back to Texas.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Ross. Thanks,
Once
Garrett.
again, great stuff there from Dawson Raymer. We'll take a break, come back. We will wrap up the show with some trivia. It's Trivia Tuesday with our good friend Lucas Kenny next here on the Morning Blitz.
Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland is rolling into summer with big offers on new GMCs. Get a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 elevation with $7,000 customer cash with trade-in or 0% for 60 months plus no payments for 90 days. Need heavy duty? Get the 26 GMC Sierra 2500 with $1,000 in rebates or 4.9% for 48 months. Plus save on 26 GMC Terrain and Arcadias with over $1,000 in rebates when you finance with GM Financial. See Earl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas or online at earlchev.com. GMC, professional grade.
At Nextech Wireless, we built a network for Kansans by Kansans. But just because our roots are here, it doesn't mean your adventures have to be. Take that trip, explore new places, make new memories. You can count on reliable service every step of the way. Bring your number to us to get unlimited data plus a Samsung Galaxy S26 for as low as $25 a month. Nextech Wireless, connecting Kansans for 20 years, wherever life takes you.
Reese Seeds in Weston is looking for an experienced farm and ranch hand to join their family operation. If you have experience with operating farm equipment, performing general maintenance, enjoy working with cattle, join us at Reese Seeds. Starting pay is $18 to $24 an hour, plus overtime, bonuses, health and dental insurance, paid time off, and more. To learn more, call Carrie at 308-737-9449 or apply at connectingresourcesinc.com. That's 308-737-9449.
What if your soil could work harder without more inputs? Fed and Happy Basecamp is biologically alive, packed with worm castings, minerals, and microbioenergy that builds structure, holds moisture, and unlocks nutrients already in your ground and in the air above. Less waste, more resilience, better yields. Stop farming against your soil. Start farming with it. Fed and Happy Basecamp. Talk to us today and see the difference this season.
Where do the best memories happen? Not in the living room. They happen out back. Build the perfect backyard with patio furniture, fire pits, grills, and smokers from Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Then tackle that fence, new roof, or weekend building project with the quality lumber and materials you trust. Keep the grass green and work easy with Ultimate All-Season Lawn Fertilizer and Eco Cordless Power Outdoor Equipment. This summer, don't just stay home, make home the place everyone wants to be. With the help of Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby.
From drive-through banking to mobile deposit, we make it easy to get things done on your schedule. Banking should fit your life, not the other way around. This is Jessica Von Lintel at F&B Bank. Banking made simple.
In a small town, your banker should know more than just your account number. They should know your name. At F&B Bank, we believe in real conversations, friendly faces, and decisions made right here at home. I'm Paige Sneathen, Vice President at F&B Bank, and we're proud to serve your family like our own. Member FDIC.
It's the Morning Blitz.
We're having a great time, couple of laughs, everything's nice.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 8 Mountain, 8 to 9 Central.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a record for the Morning Blitz. I don't think we've ever had back-to-back guests in studio in back-to-back segments. So we are setting some new trends here. It's amazing with all these bodies in the building what we can do. Thanks to Dawson Raymer for joining us here on the Morning Blitz. We welcome back into the show. I pretty much our third man on the Morning Blitz, producer when we need him as well. Lucas Kenny joins us. Good morning, Lucas. How are we doing today, buddy?
I am doing absolutely fantastic.
Your color coordination is top-notch today with the olive green and the Yellowstone hat.
Thank you, sir.
So looking good today. And, yeah, we've only got a little bit of time, not a lot of time for chit-chat, so we've got to get into some trivia. All right, so it's Trivia Tuesday. And we were on Tuesday and like Wednesday last week when the boys forgot what day it was. So Trivia Tuesday, Lucas, what do you got for us?
All right, I got 4 questions here. We'll see if we can get through them. Some of them easier, some of them harder. So first up, which NFL conference, so of course AFC or NFC, has the most consecutive Super Bowl wins, and how long was that streak?
NFC with 8.
You're correct with half of that.
Okay.
So NFC probably. I'll go NFC with 6.
So it is the NFC, and it was actually 13 seasons.
Wow.
Oh wow.
From the 85 season to the 97
I was going to
season.
guess the Cowboys were in that. That's why I was thinking the Cowboys won a lot, and so that had to be the NFC.
Packers might have been in there.
Packers. I think the Bears had one, maybe
Bears
2
were
in
in
there.
there. Of course, probably kicked it off in 85 Bears. Yeah, okay.
Yep. All right. Next question. It's a MLB question. So, who holds the MLB record for most consecutive saves?
Wasn't Mason Miller like close to this record?
I believe he was close.
Yeah, he was close like this
I'm
year.
going to go with Mariano Rivera, the Yankees.
No,
That's a
sir.
good- That's a good guess.
Is it my boy?
I'll try Dennis Eckersley.
One more guess.
Not quite. Go
How
ahead.
about Eric Gagne, Dodgers?
There you go.
Yeah, my boy.
84
Cy Young, right?
consecutive saves from August 28th, 2002
He was
to July 5th,
dude. Gagne was a
2004.
dude.
He was.
Yes, sir, he was. All right. Which 3 cities in the U.S. have the most professional sports teams across the 5 North American leagues? That's the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and MLS.
I go
And
New
it
York,
Yeah,
New York
New
City.
New
Los
York is number 1.
Angeles,
LA is number 2. New York with 11, LA with 8.
Chicago.
And Chicago is
Chicago.
number 3 with 5.
I was between Chicago or Houston.
Yep.
Houston probably
Texas
is
was
4th
close.
or 5th.
Dallas, I think, has 4. So they were there in that number 4 range. All right, last one. I like to look at how some absurd Tiger Woods stats because he's just absurdly
Tiger Woods
dominant. So he actually holds the record for most consecutive cuts made in the PGA Tour with 142. Who are the next 2 with the most consecutive PGA cuts?
Scotty Scheffler.
He's actually the current leader with consecutive. He's got 77, but no, he's not in the top 3.
Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus is 3 with 105.
God, think about that. Tiger had 140 and Jack the Golden Bear had 105.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Lord.
I know, and there's someone in between that too.
Yep.
Let me ask you, would you consider this guy an older golfer, retired golfer, or okay?
Oh,
All right.
older, I'm pretty sure.
Arnold Palmer.
Not quite. That's a good guess, though.
Sam Snead.
No, sir. It's
Gary
actually-
Player. Is it Gary
Who was?
Player?
Sorry.
Gary Player.
Oh, Gary Player. Sorry.
No.
No.
Okay.
It's actually Byron Nelson
Byron Nelson.
with 113 consecutive cuts made.
Attaboy, Byron.
That is
Yeah.
all of the trivia questions
I'm
I
going
have
to take
for
a
today.
25% win right there that I got Scotty Scheffler, who's the current leader.
And that'll
At this point in time.
getting that many cuts in a row will keep you paid. To say
That's
the least.
right. You keep those private jets fueled. You can go net jets if you keep making those cuts. That's the thing. I think like I'd be like Happy Gilmore. You know, I'd be like, just give me just those checks for $30,000. Like that's good enough for me. 30,000 here, 25,000 there. We're doing okay. We're doing all right. It probably wouldn't cover enough to make it work, but
Probably
it'd be
not.
all right. There you go. Another Trivia Tuesday with Lucas Kenny. Thank you, Lucas. Really appreciate it,
Absolutely.
my friend. So there you go. Let's get to the walk-off, gentlemen. Let's get there.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on in New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
It never ceases to amaze me how oppositions come into Coors Field and continue to outmatch the Rockies. The Marlins get the win 10-7 last night. That's game 2 coming up here tonight. Hunter Goodman, though, did have another home run. He's white hot. His trade value keeps going up. keeps going up, up, and up. Rockies again tonight against the Marlins. Royals play a series against the Streaking Rays. Don't throw to Junior Caminero. He may hit another home run. We've talked about that in the winners. Have you guys been watching the World Cup? Did you happen to see what happened yesterday? Some pretty big upsets in the World Cup yesterday.
Literally every single game was amazing yesterday.
Brazil stormed back in the final 2 minutes to win.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they would have gone down, and that's once again a world power. Germany and the Netherlands both went down to Paraguay and
Morocco.
Thank you, Morocco.
Yep.
I was about to say Monaco, but Morocco in penalties.
Yeah.
So the big dogs are going home. They're going home.
It's good news for the U.S.
Yeah.
All I hear.
Very good news.
Today, you've got 3 more games in the knockout stage. Norway, Ivory Coast, France, Sweden, might be interesting, and Mexico, Ecuador. Those are your 3 matches today. All right, that'll do it. For Lucas Kenny and, of course, Garrett Wellbrock, I'm Ross Volkmer. Thank you, gentlemen, and thanks to all the listeners. We'll see you back here again on a Wednesday. It's been the Morning Blitz. Have a good one.